Hi everybody, it's Kristin. So I have a use it up makeup inventory, that sort of thing update for you guys today. I'm going to go through, I will link the original video that I did in early January below for you. And that kind of talks about, you know, what I wanted to use up in different categories and why I wasn't maybe touching some other categories. So if you haven't seen that, please go ahead and check that out. This, as I said, is going to be kind of an update for you. I have my little notebook. Of course, it's a Packer notebook that I'm keeping track of you know, what I wanted to do and how I'm doing it, that sort of thing in. So I'm going to set this right here. We are going to just kind of jump into this and get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is primers, face primers. I had 5 of them and I wanted to get down to 2. Currently, I have 6 of them. I've used 1 and I still want to get down to 2. So the one that I used up was the Bioderma Sensi Bio, and as you guys know, I do really like that. When I moved, I found that I had this one in a backup in my drawer. And this is the Embryo Elise. It's more like a moisturizer, but I use it as a primer. And I use it on clients when I do, you know, when I pretend like I'm a makeup artist. I use that on clients who have really dry skin. It kind of is a quick, fast recovery sort of thing. So I'm keeping that in my collection. I'm not quite sure how to do that when I do have some things that I keep for, you know, doing makeup freelance versus in my own collection. But at any rate, so I do have that. And the other one that came into my collection early in the year, and as you can tell, I absolutely love it, is the Becca First Light Priming Filter. So those were the 2 that weren't before. As I said, the one I used up was the Bioderma Sensi Bio. And the ones I have left are the MAC Prep and Prime, which I will continue to keep in my collection. The Becca Backlight Priming Filter, also keeping that in my collection. And then there are 2 that I'm going to let go of right now. So one is the Giorgio Armani Maestro. And this is an SPF of 50, but this just doesn't work with my skin. It kind of makes my skin a little bit dry. I don't love this at all, so I'm going to pass this along to a friend that I think will enjoy that. And then the other one, I don't know if you remember, or if you go back and watch, you'll see I talk about how something was breaking me out. And I really do think I determined it to be this, which is the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Clot, I think. Touche Clot Blur Primer. So I'm going to actually pass this along, this also to a friend. I have a couple of friends in mind for both of those. So that brings my collection down to 4, which is pretty good. I'm not missing any, right? I'm checking to make sure on where I'm using it. That brings my collection down to 4. I still would like to work through another one yet this year and have my... I realize this brings me down to, that'll bring me down to only 3, and I'd like to have 2, but progress, it's progress. By the way, in case you're curious, I do think that I'm going to go ahead and do my foundation in a separate video like I did the first time. So that follow-up will, either you've already seen it or you will see it, one or the other. All right, so let's talk about eye primers. I had 7. I've used 1. I currently have 5. My goal was to have 2. Follow all of that, if you will. So the one that I just finished this up actually yesterday. This is the MAC Prep and Prime Eye Base. And I cut it open and cut every little last bit of it out. So I did use that. And the one that I have here that I decided to toss, actually, in the original video you saw that I tossed the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and I'm tossing the Brightening Prime Time from Bare Minerals. It was dry. It was passed along to me and was, you know, kind of, I've had it for a long time and it just isn't, it can't be used. So both of those are being pulled out of the collection, 1 used and 1 being tossed. So that leaves me with 2 Urban Decay Primer Potions in the regular one, or Eden I think it's called, whatever. It's the regular one. And then I have 1 in Sin that I'm not sure how that one's going to work. And then the Smashbox 24-hour Photo Finish Primer. So yeah, that's pretty good. I'm feeling good about 4. Okay, so loose powders, this is funny. I had, in my initial video, I went from, I think the 4 that I had to 2, and I said that I wanted to stay at 2. Well, things come into your collection, so I currently have 4. One of them was from the Beautylish, I think this came in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, if I remember right, or it was in a drawer and I forgot that I had it. I cannot remember which, but this is the RCMA No Color Powder. This I'm keeping, and this is because even though I don't love this on myself, I have, you know, I talked to other makeup artists and they really love it on clients and that sort of thing. So I'm keeping it to play with it. So that's that. That is that. Still have my Chanel. Absolutely love this. My favorite. and still have the Double Wear, Double Wear Mineral Rich. They don't make this anymore, but I love this powder, so I'm not letting go of it. And then the one that came into my collection was the Becca, and this is the Golden Hour powder. I do really like this. I haven't decided if I need to keep it or not. I still would prefer to have my loose powders at 2, but currently I'm at 4. I do also have the By Terry, and that is a loose powder, but I kind of, my pen here because I'm keeping track of my little list, but I kind of put this on its own little, it's on a little pedestal first of all, but it's on its own sort of category. It's the only product that I have that I set my under eyes with, and so, you know, I just have one for that purpose, and that's the one I'm always going to have. All right, so we'll talk about concealers. I still have the 2 brighteners that I've had, the MAC Prep and Prime in Radiant Rose, and then the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Éclat. I don't think I didn't have it in my notes anyway that I was trying to get rid of either of those. So, and then I had 7 concealers. I currently have 6. I'd like to get to 3, and I don't think I've used up any this year, which is because I switched from this to my MAC Pro Longwear. So the ones that I destash, I have them here to destash, is the, I kind of have a little, this little Wisconsin mug that somebody sent me. I keep my products in there that I'm destashing until I talk to you guys about them. The Lasting Perfection from Collection 2000. This is just too light for me. I really look like, what do they call that, reverse panda? It just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to pass that along to somebody later than I am. And then the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Illumination. The Bye Bye Under Eye is just a little bit too thick for my under eyes, being as dry as they can be. So I'm going to pass this along to somebody who really likes that product. So that leaves me with 6, and one of these has come into my collection. So I'll just review for you. I have the Amazing Cosmetics, the hydrating one here. I have the Amazing Cosmetics, this is the Amazing Concealer. I have the MAC Pro Longwear, which is down to about here. So I'm still working through that, and we'll stick that back where it goes. And I mean, seriously, I don't know how there can be anything left in this. Like, I do this to kind of get a rough idea of where it's in there, but this is the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. Again, I don't use this under my eyes. I use it on my face, and it's just never ending. I have the Estee Lauder Perfectionist. Yes, one, and I am still working, I will be working through that eventually. And then lastly, this is the one that came into my collection, is the Clé de Peau Concealer. So again, I have 6 of those, and really my goal is to get down to 3. So I wasn't keeping track of brow products because I don't have a backup stash of those really, but I wanted to show you guys, I just about lost the cap here. I have worked through the IT Cosmetics Brow Power, which I really like. I worked through, I keep dropping the cap, the Dope Taupe from ColourPop. I liked that formula as well. And the Define a Brow from Maybelline, that's been, you know, a long time favorite. And I have to tell you, the only one that I have in my collection currently is the Goof Proof pencil that I'm using right now. And then I'll have to make a decision whether I want to try something or purchase something. Oh, nope, that's a lie. I didn't mean to. This is the Milani Easy Brow. I think I have to decide whether I like this or not. I'm pretty sure I did not like this. So I am down to 2 brow products, and I feel pretty good about that because at one point I'm pretty sure I had like 10 or 11. And that wasn't like a toss and get rid of sort of a situation. That was, I worked through them all diligently over the past couple of years. All right, so the next thing was pressed powders. I had 5 of them, and my goal, I believe, was to get down to 1 because I just don't use them. And yeah, it was definitely to get down to 1. I just don't use them because I generally use a powder foundation. So this is a bit of a struggle for me, and I think I actually am going to go with getting down to maybe 2. I'm not quite sure. But at this point, here's what I will tell you. So I still have the same 5, which was the MAC Maleficent Beauty Powder in Natural, the Wet n Wild Fergie Rimmel Stay Matte, the Catrice Skin Finish, and then the Chanel, the pressed version of the Chanel powder that I like. So I have tried this, I'm going to get the things out of my hand. I have tried this Fergie powder a bunch of times, and I just don't like it. It does not look good on my skin. I don't know. It's the, you know, what's funny is that it has this like really smooth feel to it, which I can appreciate, but it just doesn't look good on my skin. And I know that people compared this to the NARS powder, and I didn't like that either. So this I'm going to pass along So we're gonna get me down to 4 there. And I'm just gonna work my way down to 3 right now. I'm also gonna get rid of the Rimmel Stay Matte, and that's only because this cover doesn't stay on very well. And I feel like this Catrice works better. And again, I'm not generally trying to super mattify my face. This is more for when I'm, you know, putting makeup on other people. So I want to have one that is kind of mattifying that I know works, and that is this Catrice. So at this point, I'm going to keep these 3. I don't know, at some point, I heard ice just fall from my, you know, when your refrigerator's making ice. Anyway, get it together, game. So I'm going to, this is the one I'm iffy about. I don't use this anymore. I used to use this to set my under eyes, and I just don't. And so I may go ahead and sell this. Somebody may want it for the packaging. So at this point, I'm down to 3. Okay, powder foundations. So I had 9 and I was trying to get down to 4. So first off, I used 1UP. I used the Pure Minerals 4-in-1. I loved this, but I did go ahead and use that up. And I did bring one into my collection. I just destashed 2. So the 2 that I destashed were the Laura Mercier Natural Beige. It just was too dark for me. And then the Laura Geller Balance and Brightening, yeah, in regular, also just too dark for me. I used up the one you saw, and I am just about done with this. Is the Camp Cosmetics. It was called the Duo or Dual in R1, and you can see I'm making good progress in that. I really like this one. And then the one that came into my collection, and I actually have not played with this much, which is not good because it was expensive and I need to play with it. But it was the Clé de Peau foundation, so I need to report back to you. This is, I think, the only product from the Clé de Peau items that I haven't played with enough to do an update for you, but I think you guys wanted a product update on those Clé de Peau products, so I will do that. So that's the one that came into my collection, and then the other 5 are the Maybelline Fit Me, the Estee Lauder Double Wear, and then the 2 IT Cosmetics powders. I am still deciding on both of these. I have the Celebration Foundation Illumination in Light, and then I have the Celebration Foundation in Light Medium. I'm pretty sure this is just a tad too dark and too yellow for me. This one does seem to work, so I will probably at some point this year destash that one and send this off to a friend who I know really enjoys it. And then the Burberry one I showed you guys before is brand new in the package, you know, still there. So I currently have 6. Counting this one, I have 7, and I will for sure have, you know, worked through that and maybe gotten rid of another one at the next time. So we'll see. If I am able to do an update in 3 months versus 6, like I did this, you know, versus the end of the year, I will. Just kind of depends. All right, so on to bronzers. I had 10 in my collection, and I've just determined over the years that bronzer's not a thing I really need to buy all the time. It's just one of those things you get caught up in the, oh, a new bronzer everybody likes, I probably need to have that, even if it's not something you really want to try out. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I had 10. I bought another one, 11, because I just wasn't loving with some of the ones that I was trying. And so I was shopping with my friend Tika, and I don't know, I bought another one. So I have 11. And my goal is to get down to 4. Now, since then, I've used this one up. I forgot to put in my empties, so I'll have to show it the next time. This was the Burberry Summer Glow. And I have used as much of that as I am willing to use. This side was the 2 lighter shades, and at some point they broke. And then I used a good amount of this before it broke as well. So I'm really happy with that because it was an expensive product. It actually was gifted to me by a subscriber a long time ago. It didn't work for her. She's darker and it was too light. This was so great for me in the winter. This would be my holy grail bronzer if they made it all the time, which they don't, which is, you know, that is a bummer. Back to 10. But I will tell you this, I've already decided, I showed this, I think in my empties, I am destashing the IT Cosmetics Ombre Bronzer. I just can't get it, it's too shimmery for what I want a bronzer to be for me. I just don't think it's one that I'm going to love using, so I'm going to pass this along, like I said, or sell it or something. I don't know, I haven't quite decided. So the current one that I am trying to decide whether I love still or not is the Annabelle Biggie Bronzer. And I've liked this bronzer in the past, but again, it's very shimmery. So I'm going to just leave my bronzers as is, and you know, that I have 10 of them and I still want to get down to 4, because now that I've used up that Burberry one, I'm really going to get it. I'm going to kind of dig into these bronzers. It sounds kind of funny, but and use one for a little bit. If I don't love it, it's going out the door. So that's going to kind of be my goal here. in the next probably 2 months. So you may see some in my empties because I will put them in there even if I'm passing them along, just to kind of share with you what I've decided to do. So at any rate, I had 10, then I had 11, I used one up and I'm back to 10. Okay, so black and brown eyeliners, I kind of talked about how these are the ones that I have, and I was going to, this I grabbed out of here. These are some that I'm kind of working through. So I have used up the Marc Jacobs Black, or little one that I had. I wanted to use up 2 black and 2 brown again, and I did use up the Tarte Onyx. So I worked through already the black ones, and I haven't, the current black one I'm working with is the Julep Eye Glider. The brown one I was working with was the Makeup Forever, but it dried up. It wasn't working, so I got rid of that one. And now I'm working through the Rimmel Exaggerate, which is waterproof. Somebody asked me this a while back. It is waterproof in rich brown, and I really like that as well. What I had said in that was that I wanted to kind of grab one. If it didn't work for me, I would get rid of it and grab another one. And that's what I'm doing. So I don't see any harm in not like busting through these eyeliners, because I'm picking one, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'd get rid of it. And so far I've had ones that are working. So yeah, so that's where we're at with the eyeliners. All right, for mascaras, I know that I just had a couple in my empties. I said that I think I had 10, and I didn't really give a number that I wanted to work with, if I remember correctly. I just wanted to use up the ones that I had. So I am down to 6 and a little mini. So this one I just got in something, I can't remember what it was, and this is the Lancome Hypnose Drama. And so I still have an Armani Eyes to Kill, YSL Volume Effect Faux Cils, and I haven't pulled out any for this quarter yet. I just tossed my other ones. Liz Wattier, which is this one. I have a Bare Minerals Flawless Definition, which I've had a long time, and there's a distinct possibility this will not be good once I get to it. A YSL Baby Doll. And then this Bobbi Brown Eye Opening Mascara. So I've worked through 4 of them, and I'm down to 6, and I feel good about that. I think the reason that I feel pretty good about that is because I think there have been 2 Nordstrom sales where it's buy 2 get 1 free or whatever, and I have not partook? I didn't participate in either one. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and toss all of these products that I've been hanging on to. I'm going to continue to work things. I will report back. Maybe I'll do a quarterly one, but I feel like the way that I'm doing it this year, it's better to do, you know, this one, and then I'll do one at the end of the year to see where we are at. I'll work on the foundation one. I don't think I'm going to get that filmed yet today. I will get that filmed here in the next week or so and get that one up for you as well. That is everything. On my face today, I have the amazing concealer foundation, and I have that topped off with the Camp Cosmetics powder foundation. For blush today, I have the Beauty Junkees blush in Russet Rose, and then topped off with the highlight in Pink Parfait. I do have a swatch vest video for those their eyeshadows and that sort of thing, and I do have Beauty Junkie eyeshadows on as well today. I will list the shades below for you. And also I have Beauty Junkees lip products. I have their liquid lipstick in Soulmate, not matte. It is matte though. And then topped off with the mint pink satin lip gloss. And I think that's everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and in everything that you do, be beautiful. Bye.